Hi, I'm Grant.
And I'm Kathy. Welcome back to our weekly Change How You Think video podcast.
If you'd like to hear from us every week, then subscribe to our video by clicking on the weekly video tab at the top of this page. Fill in the subscription form and you'll get our free ebook, Healthy Moods.
Forgiveness is one of the foundational topics in our ministry. It's actually a spiritual weapon that the enemy cannot defend himself against. When people forgive, he can't continue to use the offense to get them angry or bitter and wanting revenge. I teach a session on forgiveness at all of our seminars, and I conclude by leading everyone in prayers of forgiveness.
I've heard Kathy teach this hundreds of times. I've even given her talk myself one day when she had laryngitis, so I know it almost off by heart. Every time she would come to the closing prayer, where we ask God who we need to forgive, I had no one. I had dealt with all that long ago, or so I thought. But there's been a person in my life for many years who often makes me angry and irritated. Each time it happens, I forgive, and then I brace myself for the next encounter. I thought that's all I needed to do. Forgive each time it happens. But last month, God showed me that it was a much bigger issue than I thought. I saw that my forgiveness was superficial. In reality, I had a huge root of bitterness growing inside of me. What I thought was forgiveness was just words. It was cheap forgiveness. In reality, I was stuffing the offense inside, and that was feeding the bitter root.
Sometimes, in order to quickly feel better about a situation or a person, we try to escape with a very superficial level of forgiveness. We know we need to forgive, so we just do it verbally, and it's not truly from your heart. We don't really pay attention to the level of hurt we've experienced from this event, and then we wonder why we feel a flood of painful emotions when we remember the event or actually see that person again.
Today we want to talk about the difference between cheap forgiveness and true forgiveness. Or, how do I know that I've really forgiven? If you have truly forgiven at a deep level, then remembering the event or seeing them again will not trigger the same reaction. You'll be able to remember the offense, but it won't affect you the same way. Forgiving someone does not mean you'll forget the incident, but it does mean it won't control you any longer.
When you have forgiven, you don't blame God for what happened. You recognize that God can take all the negative circumstances in our life and use them for His glory. Romans 8:28 says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose."
True forgiveness means you aren't keeping an ongoing record of the wrongs done against you. You are able to totally bless the person who hurt you. This is not the same thing as trusting the person. Forgiveness and trust are separate events. Forgiveness can be done in a moment, but trust has to be rebuilt over time.
When you truly forgive, you no longer need to or want to tell others about how you were hurt. You are able to encourage others to forgive, even when it was the same person who hurt you. You don't add fuel to their fire by sharing your experience and ruining the enemy's reputation even further.
The key for me was when God gave me a different way of looking at the person and how they had offended me so often over so many years. With that different perspective, it became easy to forgive. I think God allowed me to see the person from His perspective, so I forgave. But this time it was from my heart. Over the next few days, I actually felt different. Something was missing. I felt lighter and happier. A dark cloud had come off me that I had become so accustomed to that I hadn't even noticed it. I was free. The test came, of course, when I had to see the person again. I didn't dread it this time like I usually did, and everything went great. They hadn't changed, I had.
When you have accomplished the work of forgiveness, it's important to recognize you are not the same person any longer who was hurt. The experience has changed you, and your response of being able to forgive has matured you in your walk with God. So when you encounter that person again, if you are upset all over again, perhaps you need to check yourself. Are you allowing offense to rob you of a relationship that has the potential of being restored because you have forgiven? Perhaps it becomes your new growing edge as you learn how to allow the trust to be rebuilt. Or perhaps it's a place for grace to continue to work in your heart so you can love again.
What amazed me was that I carried this for so long and didn't realize it. The bitter root was infecting me and I was unaware of it. Even hearing about forgiveness repeatedly didn't expose it. It was Satan's playground to torment me. Now that it's gone, I feel different. The infection is gone.
To achieve the deep level of true forgiveness and avoid the cheaper, superficial forgiveness, it's important to forgive not only for the event that hurt you, but also for how it made you feel. And this means remembering or acknowledging the pain that happened. For example, how worthless, unloved, or not good enough you felt.
When you've acknowledged what happened and how it hurt you, now we can pray. So pray along with us.
Father, I thank you that you have forgiven me and you long to see me come to complete freedom. I recognize freedom comes when I choose to forgive those who have hurt me. Today, Lord, I acknowledge I was sinned against by people in my life, and I am choosing to forgive them not only for what they did to me, but also to forgive them for how it made me feel. Now just take a minute and begin to think about all the feelings that came as a result of those painful events. Today, I choose to release them from all of the harm they have caused me, and I bless them in Jesus' name.
If you'd like to learn more about forgiveness, why don't you join us in Free Your Mind, because we'll be teaching an entire course on it. And Free Your Mind is our step-by-step online video guide to taking back control of your internal world. Just click on the link below this video to subscribe. And we'll talk to you again next week, but this week, ask God, is there anyone I need to forgive but from my heart?